Commissioner Goldman, please stand.
Lord, we come to you this morning, I thank you for this beautiful weather you've given to us the last few days, the moisture you've been sending to us. Lord, we praise you for all these beautiful things you've allowed us to have and see in this beautiful community. And Lord, thank you for each one here this morning, and we ask that you be with us as we make decisions about the well-being of this city. Help us to make those that would be good for the city, and Lord, just guide and direct us, give us wisdom as we do that. Again, we thank you for this day. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now call this meeting to order. First item for roll call.
Rick Miller.
Here.
Galen Vogt.
Here.
Warren Goldman.
Here.
Brian Wade.
Here.
Mike Brown.
Here. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Goldman. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Miller, actually.
Miller.
Aye.
Vogt.
Aye.
Goldman.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye. Next item on the agenda is consider recommendation of the Hotel Motel Committee to approve a grant to Cowboys for Cancer for beating the Sod's Rodeo in the amount of $2,000. Brian?
Good morning. That is an event that will be held at the arena in Raider Park, and it's a nonprofit organization that it benefits families in western Oklahoma that are dealing with cancer, and it's to help families. It's at the event, so that's the event that's going on in
Okay.
October.
Okay, we've got a recommendation to approve $2,000 for the Cowboys for Cancer in October. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
So moved by Vogt. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Goldman. Any discussion? Ashley?
Miller.
Aye.
Vogt.
Aye.
Goldman.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye. Thank you, Brian. Next item on the agenda is to acknowledge and accept the election results for Ward 2 and 4. Ashley?
Last month on the 23rd, we had our election for Ward 2 and Ward 4. We just need to approve and accept the election results.
Okay.
They gave vote at 345, Jimmy Ingram at 659, and Ward 4 is Brian Wade at 443, and Garrett Smith at 550.
Okay. Just need to acknowledge and accept those election results. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
So moved by Goldman. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Miller. Any discussion? Ashley?
Miller.
Aye.
Vogt.
Aye.
Goldman.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye. The next item on the agenda is consider property abatements. David?
Good morning, Mayor and Council. We only have 3 this month. The first one is 2204 Strata. You can see pictures there. The front yard, not real bad. The neighbors have been trying to mow it some, but the backyard, asked if you'll show that next picture, it really gets bad. I mean, weeds in the backyard are taller than I am. It's horrible. People moved out of this house first part of the summer. Neighbors mowed the front yard some, but obviously hadn't been mowed in the back, and I recommend we abate it.
Okay, we've got a recommendation to abate 2204 Strata. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
So moved by Miller, second by Vogt. Any discussion? Ashley?
Miller.
Aye.
Vogt.
Aye.
Coleman.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye. Dave?
The next one's 410 East Rainey. We've abated this one before. Last time the owners came in and cleaned it before we had to, which was a good deal, but it's growed up again, and I've tried to make contact with them, and nothing's been done. I checked it this morning. It's still growed up. It needs to be cleaned up. Recommend it for abatement.
Okay, got a recommendation to abate 410 East Rainey. Do we have a motion to abate?
So moved.
So moved by Goldman. We have a second.
Second.
Second by Vogt. Any discussion?
Miller.
Aye.
Vogt.
Aye.
Goldman.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye. Thank you, Dave.
The next one is 1110 North Bradley. It's the corner of Bradley and Davis. The house is empty. The house is pretty secure, but the yard is growed up. The fence is blown down. Just needs cleaned up, fence repaired, and make it a little more attractive. Tried to make contact with the owner, and I haven't been able to. I talked to his cousin, and his cousin was gonna tell him that we were putting it on the agenda today. Haven't heard anything back, so.
Okay, got a recommendation to abate 1110 North Bradley. Do we have a motion to abate?
So moved.
So moved by Miller, we have a second.
Second.
Second by Goldman, any discussion?
Miller.
Aye.
Vogt. Goldman.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye. Thank you, Dave. Next item on the agenda is review and discuss Cowan Engineering design options for the Ford dealership property. Commissioners take action as necessary. This was something that was requested several months ago concerning the Ford dealership. I wanted to look at what options that we had over there. And by options, I mean looking at putting the drainage back in the easement, also replacing the pipe where it sits, and doing putting in a brand new pipe there. Basically came back with several proposals from Cowan. I think maybe, hopefully you had an opportunity to take a look at those. They're all, in my mind, kind of cost prohibitive, based on the budget at this time, but might just open it up for questions or comments. Anybody?
I think we've been doing some work over there to kind of get some coverage on the
Right,
lot.
yeah, the Parks Department has basically been trying to maintain that. They've, I think, overseeded it with rye just recently, been mowing it, keeping it hopefully looking pretty good. We've power washed, or the Parks and Rec power washed the wall, plan on painting that just to kind of take away from the that blue that we've got on there, just try to make it a little more attractive. But at this point, we really didn't feel like that, we need to look at spending $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 to, repair that spot. But, any other comments?
Repair, when you say repair that spot, you're talking about running the line, or?
Yeah, relocating it. I mean, it's repaired now. What we've done up to this point is there was two 30-foot sections that we, put in new drainage, so we repaired it as it is. But yeah, the question is whether or not we would want to move that pipe back to the easement, or I say move it, relocate that pipe back to the easement, or want to put a new pipe in. And by pipe, that can be a concrete culvert, can be, whatever you want, but
Well, that was, when we did that, that was a temporary patch. And the bottom of that pipe has holes in it all along the bottom.
Okay.
And so, we're going to end up with another sinkhole if we don't do something. Potentially, at times it's been backing up on 7th Street because of that chunk of concrete that's crossways inside of that pipe. So, I don't, all I see is that we're going to have to take some money out of reserve to do this. It's not, I don't really think we can kick the can down the road without doing more damage to the system. What are your thoughts?
Well, that is, I don't know if Kendall's here. That is our biggest concern as far as back upstream, if you will, the damage that it could, potentially cause. At this point, it may last another 50 years, it may collapse, next rain we have, there's no question.
Well, with all the holes in the bottom, I saw them up close and personal. We've got a joint that comes in from the, it crosses the highway somewhere north of Casasota that ties in, that has completely broken down, and there's water blowing around the pipe. And so, we're not far off from having problems again. And we're talking about undermining Main Street at this point. So,
Kendall, you want to make any comments about, what your thoughts are as far as about upstream? Lisa, I think you've got a microphone. You mind, Kendall?
I've seen all of what Warren's talking about, and we do have problems right there around the Casa Soto area. Is it I don't know how long that's been like that, who knows? But yeah, sooner or later, it could cause some problems. The big pieces of concrete and stuff that's in the pipe, you know, we might be able to hire somebody to come in there and get that stuff out. I just don't feel comfortable sending my guys up in there to clean that stuff out. But, you know, eventually it could cause some problems.
Thank you. Other comments from the council? I guess what we're asking for today is if we want to move forward, you know, with, you know, some part of the project, you know, or if we want to wait until something happens, I guess, again, before we deal with it. I mean, really the only hesitance that we've had is, you know, spending an additional $750,000 for a piece of property that's worth about $100,000.
Well, I mean, we spent $500,000 buying a piece of property.
Right.
You know, and the reason we supposedly bought it was because we were gonna fix the problem, and now we're backing off on fixing the problem. That just doesn't make sense to me. And we're gonna have to bite the bullet and take money out of reserve, I think.
Okay.
Is there any way we can do that in some kind of phase project? You know, if this Casa Soto area, is that needs attention, we could do that. And then maybe in a year, do another phase, kind of spread it out and make some, I don't know if that's feasible or even possible.
Well, I think as Commissioner Goldman and also Kendall mentioned, there is some obstruction, you know, in the pipe that, you know, we could potentially get cleared out. You know, I don't know if that would help or not, but we could, you know, go that route, at least where the water might flow, you know, a little better, and then, you know, move forward as far as a plan.
I mean, you have a concrete box that comes down, and that's just square concrete, poured concrete, steel reinforced to a certain point, and then from there it goes with the round pipe. You know, it's the corrugated metal pipe that doesn't really seal. And then you have other things coming into the side of that. And the piece coming into the side actually goes under Main Street, and it has greatly deteriorated, but then the pipe that it ties into is deteriorated along with that. They don't even meet up anymore. You know, so you've got water that runs in and around all of that. And I'm sure that got a lot worse, you know, while it was backing up and under pressure when the Ford place started caving in. And so now, you know, it's created additional problems. There are holes in the bottom of the pipe all along it, which you know, are going to, you know, we're going to end up with another sinkhole down through there, and I don't see how it would be economical to just do little pieces of it when it's not really that long of a piece. It's expensive, but, you know, we're not talking about a great distance.
One of the proposals that we didn't receive was, you know, we had talked about the possibility of just digging up the pipe and actually just laying, you know, putting the same spot, both doing like we did on Timber Creek, the articulated blanket, you know, riprap, you know, that type of thing down through there, which would probably be the least expensive way to do it. It may not be the most attractive way to do it.
I think the engineers indicated that really wasn't feasible in that area.
I didn't really understand why it wouldn't be, but.
It's
but,
deep.
Too deep.
It's very deep.
Too deep.
But
I have two questions in my mind when the subject comes up. One is, if we don't do anything in the near future, is it going to affect down Main Street, you know, downtown area and things like that? Do we need to go ahead and do something? And then two, that's prime real estate for private business and more income for the city. How important is it to us to fix it more in the near future versus later in the near future?
Right.
Or are we just going to sit on the land, on the property? So those two
Yeah.
are weighing out in my mind.
Well, as far as the question for downtown, I don't think it's gonna have any effect directly down, what I call town center, I guess. I think, as Warren mentioned, probably more concerned about, Main Street and up 7th Street is where, there could be potential, damage, on there. So which are two major areas, that, no question, that we've gotta be concerned about. And so, we can certainly move forward with, trying to, see what the next step is, or if there is a way to phase it, Galen, way to phase it somehow or another. I just, having a hard time thinking about spending that kind of money on something that, and maybe we should, maybe that's one of those things that, needs to be taken care of, but just want to bring it to the commission for discussion as far as the direction we need to go.
Do we have cameras we can put down the hole, Kendall, to watch and monitor the pipes a little bit and what's happening in there?
I don't have any cameras that we can run down there. I mean, we hired a company to come out and run a camera down it the first time. I mean, I guess a guy could, I don't know how far we can come up or go down.
You can't get past that joint.
Yeah, we couldn't get past it the first time, and we couldn't come up past some of
Because of that
the
concrete
rock
slab
on
that's
south
in
there.
there?
Well, now the concrete slab would stop you from the bottom, but you've got, where that T is a metal pipe that everything doesn't meet. There's no way for the camera to climb through that. It's just too big a gap.
My suggestion would be that we just replace the existing pipe in the spot where it's at. That'll be with other large metal pipe. It'll last a long time. I know it has an easement then going through the middle of the property.
Yes, ma'am.
And, it's, the buyer will, if there's a potential buyer, they just have to deal with the easement that goes, you have pipelines that go through stuff and developments.
That's where it is. It'd be cheaper to put it in a straight line right there next to the road. Take less pipe.
I think that was one of the issues, Commissioner Goldman, in looking at it, probably better off to go back into the easement, the original easement, aren't we?
From what we were seeing above, we really didn't know where that old pipe went until they did their survey. And that picture right there kind of tells, that it is, that's actually, putting it in the easement is actually a shorter line. We thought it'd be a straight line, it'd
right.
be shorter going the other way. It's actually shorter to put it in the easement.
I understand that.
So,
Is there any research or any proposal that's just done with, instead of putting in a concrete drainage system, to do it in heavy galvanized pipe and doing it in a new easement?
Right. And Chuck, you can make any comments here. Basically, what we've done is we've asked Cowan Engineering to come up with a proposal. I think they probably, I won't say it's overkill, but, probably whatever the best and newest. Go ahead.
Option 2 is to use to put it in the easement with a plastic pipe. That's high-density polyethylene pipe. It's supposed to be pretty good, slightly cheaper than the concrete. The one the option 4 that they propose in there is running in the existing line where it is right now, basically pulling it out, replacing it, but they spec'd out a concrete box for the existing line, which is considerably higher. One more thing that isn't on this that I've found out since then, which maybe we want to consider, maybe we don't, is I think it's a relatively new technology where they go into the existing pipe that's in the ground, and I say paint it for lack of a better way. They paint it with a polyethylene covering inside it. It supposedly renews the pipe and supposedly will last a long time. So we might want to look into that. I don't know. You'd have to repair the junction you're speaking of, Warren, but I don't know.
Will paint cover holes? That's the other problem.
I'm sorry.
Paint won't cover
Oh,
holes.
yeah, no, they fix that, then they paint. But anyway, that's just another option that
I
I don't know
the
if
whole
it's...
bottom, it's like the best way to describe it is the corrugations are like a cheese grater.
Yeah. They show,
Big slots gone in the bottom.
like I said, I think it might be worth looking at that if you guys want to. It's, I think it's relatively new. An engineer brought it up to me, and I thought, well, we'll throw it out there. I don't know if it's a lot cheaper or not, so.
I know we took a look at it, the only question I had is whether or not it actually strengthens, as far as cave-ins. I don't know that it, which apparently it does, but,
Well, see, their proposal, when we talked to them initially, they said that the cost between the concrete pipe and the plastic, it wasn't a huge amount, the difference. And I talked to several people in town that seem to know, about those things. Let's see, I think one of them might have been Eddie Brong. He said that really concrete pipe would be the way to go. And Jim Loomis, he said, I just asked him, what are your thoughts? This has been a while back. And they both said go with concrete pipe. Loomis pointed out that the concrete pipe actually has a neoprene seal, and they actually it will hold pressure. You don't have to worry about joints leaking or anything like that. So I'll just throw that out. I like to go to people that know more about stuff than I do when we're looking at these things.
so would it be, something we'd want to go ahead and move forward with, maybe what those options, difference of cost is?
I really think that, that it's infrastructure, and I think it's something that needs to be dealt with before Main Street gets undermined. We have not officially taken over Main Street yet, have we?
We think we have, but,
Well, we had a meeting with them in which they
Right.
said that we just need you to do this preliminary stuff. It'll take, city action, and the mayor will have to sign off on it, on our forms before you take it over. Have you signed anything?
no.
Okay.
Yeah. Might just mention too, we are videoing these commission meetings. If you would, talk into your mic. I think yours was a little worn, so.
Sorry about
No, that's fine. Do we have a motion to, maybe, table this till next month, or come back with, some,
Well, I think we ought to look at the option that he mentioned, just to get some information on that. I don't really know anything about it. And second, I wonder if it wouldn't hurt just to see what it'd take to get some kind of ballpark estimate, what it'd take to go in there, like Kendall said, just remove that chunk of concrete in there that would not at least restrict the flow in case we defer a year or two.
Well, deferring a year or two, what we talked about when we talked about just patching this was just getting us down the road a few months so that we weren't, further eroding and causing more problems. Now we're talking a year or two. That really concerns me. I think that, this is a critical issue that I think we need to try to deal with.
I think we need to pursue it as rapidly as we can to mitigate future damage that will end up costing us more in the long run and create more problems. I would be in favor of pursuing whatever immediate options.
Okay.
Cut it down to one or two
Okay.
provide, with an estimated cost and go for it.
Okay.
I think it's necessary to be done.
Okay, we'll try to do maybe those three items then, try to, look and see what the other options are as far as what the engineers have proposed, that Chuck had mentioned, look about getting the, piece of concrete, removed out of there, see if that'd make a difference, and then see what, the most feasible, reconstruction is gonna be for next month's meeting. Is that all right?
And if the city has a couple of guys that'll move that grate, put a ladder down in the hole, I'll go down and break the concrete.
Right.
We're only talking maybe a couple hours.
Right. Well, we'll try to move forward. Bonnie, do you have a question?
Yes,
Bonnie.
I think they can hear me okay.
Well, we're recording it, so we'd like to.
Okay. Yes, I was going to need a refresher course because this has been quite a while since this happened. But that problem existed for quite a while before the sinkhole happened. Now, I have two questions. One, how much is in your reserve fund? Number two, it sounds like from what Warren has said, this is going to continue to be a problem. So my question is, we could have more liability if we don't take care of it, and it could be another huge amount. The other thing is, why do you want to move that over into the easement?
It's a straight line if you move it into the easement, and if you leave it where it is, it makes a zigzag course down the middle of the property.
The other reason that we wanted to move it is that if we did want to sell it in the future, basically give somebody a bigger footprint to build on. You know, right now, it's right down the center of the property. And so by moving it into the easement, you know, would free up a little more space. To answer your question on the reserves, you know, currently we have between $3 and $4 million in reserves.
Thank you.
And you can't build on an easement legally.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay, other comments, Tony? Okay, sure, yeah?
I just want to point out, $3 or $4 million in reserves is not much for a city this size. And I would like for you to consider, nobody likes to be taxed, but the council saved the citizens $500,000 on their real estate taxes by not doing condemnation on buying the property or being forced to buy the property. You might consider a storm drain fee for 1 year or 2 years, added onto the water bills to pay for this project. It's a standalone project. That'd probably be a $5 to $10 a month increase. But then it'd be set aside as a project, and you have to pay for it in a year, and you would still have your reserve.
Okay, thank you, appreciate the idea. Other comments? Okay, so I'm hearing that I just plan on coming back to the next month's meeting with some of those options and basically list it like we've got it listed, and no action today, other than that? Okay.
I'm fine.
Okay, sounds good. All right, the next item on the agenda is consider proposal in reference to the ambulance service for the city of Weatherford. We have a emergency service advisory board. Looks like Chief Carlin making his way to the microphone. Over the last couple of months, we've been looking at the possibility of alternatives on the ambulance service, and so here today to go over that.
Good morning. A couple of months ago, we put together a request for proposal for providing ambulance service to the city of Weatherford. Through putting that together, we wanted to make sure that we were providing the best service for our citizens that we can. And we sent those out. We received 3 responses to that request. 2 of them met the basic requirements. 1 of them didn't fully meet the requirements. However, we chose to go ahead and review all 3 proposals. 2 of them last week made presentations to you all, and wanted to point out just a couple of things in that request for proposal. 1, we wanted to have 2 fully staffed paramedic units in town, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, available for immediate response. We wanted a 3rd as a backup, and with a plan for staffing that if needed. We requested also that the provider be available for standby at special events, sporting events, law enforcement events, fire scenes, things like that, that would be at the request of the Emergency Services Board or Emergency Services. We also asked them to provide and assist in training of all of the area first responders in their EMT certifications, CPR, things like that. And I do want to commend the board, everyone that sat on that over the last couple of months. We have spent a tremendous amount of time putting this together and then reviewing the proposals as well. And so thank you to everyone that was involved in that. I will say that after a review of the proposals, research of all the data that we received investigating information received by all of the members, we've come to the conclusion, and it was a unanimous decision to make a recommendation to accept the proposal from Lifeguard Ambulance Service to provide ambulance service to the city of Weatherford.
Okay, got a recommendation. Any discussion, or do we have a motion?
I make a motion, we approve their recommendation.
Okay, got a recommendation and approval by Goldman. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Miller. Open it up for discussion.
Did they come up with a final cost? I missed those meetings, I was
Right.
out of town, so.
Chief, you want to address that?
They did, and we have, I believe you should have those numbers in front of you, what the increase in cost is going to be. Wasn't a significant increase, but it was going to be, I believe, about 85 cents per meter is what the increase is going to be.
Other comments?
One thing that I really take to heart and consider, especially on something like this, I try to consider what's local first. Local vendors, local citizens, the town, the people, the state. And the more I investigated on this myself, talking to members of the board, emergency and police, and some physicians in town, the emergency room over at the hospital and things like that. Sometimes it is for the better of the town to actually go ahead and consider outside options. And this happens to be one of them, I think. I just think it's ironic that that's one of the topics that was run with the campaign of the wards previously, so thought I'd like to point that out.
Other comments? I'll make one, just kind of the same type thing. As a small business owner, my first thought is, somebody on a local basis. I know that Siner has represented the city for a number of years, and there's been, I guess maybe all but this year, where we haven't had anybody else that was interested in running the ambulance service. And, and I've expressed this to, the board, is that, the concern of, somebody, an outsider, if you will, that's going to offer a service, and there's not taking anything away from Lifeguard, because they're a huge company and they're, very well established, and I think that can do a great job. But I just, I had an opportunity to visit with Rick. We were talking about that, when you talk about trying to stay local, trying to do those type of things. But on the other hand, we sit there and say, okay, we want to find what's the best deal for the citizens that live here. Right. And I think that, and I shared this with Ann and Johnny, that, I think paramedic service was the first thing that really kind of stuck out. And correct me if I'm wrong, Chief. The paramedic service being available, I think Siner agreed to do that. They don't currently do it, but they agreed to have somebody, on that, which I appreciated. Then, it got to, some of the other, fine points of the contract itself. Mm-hmm. I think we're all tasked with doing what's in the best interest of the public. And so, trying to be open about that, but, I do appreciate what, Siner's done in the past, and Lifeguard, like I said, did a nice job on that. So I just wanted to throw that out there just because it's on my mind, but open it up for other comments. Comments from the audience? Hearing none, go ahead, Rick. Okay. We've got a motion and a second to approve the recommendation to go with Lifeguard ambulance service. Any other discussion? Ashley?
Miller.
Aye.
Vogt.
Aye.
Goldman.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brown.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is consider proposed executive session, discuss the purchase or appraisal of real estate contract. Do we have a motion to move into executive session?
So moved.
So moved by Goldman. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Vogt.
Miller.
Aye.
Vogt.
Aye.
Goldman.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye. Okay, do we have a motion to go back into open session?
So moved.
So moved by Vogt. We have a second by Coleman. Ashley?
Miller. Vogt. Goldman.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye. Next item is considering the action result of the executive session.
I make a motion that we accept the counter proposal of $43,550 to accept that, to forward the project on exit 82 and get that underway.
Okay, got a motion to accept the counteroffer. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Goldman. Any discussion? Next one.
Miller.
Aye.
Vogt.
Aye.
Goldman.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye. Okay, we'll move on over to the Public Works Authority. First item on the Public Works Authority is the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
So moved by Miller. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Wade. Next one.
Miller.
Aye.
Vogt.
Aye.
Goldman.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye. No other items for the Wealthy Public Works Authority. Any comments from the audience? Comments from the commission? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved by Goldman. We have a second?
Second.
Vote?
Miller. Vogt.
Aye.
Goldman.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye. Thank you.